right, welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here we go. Our final matchup is upon us. Kinguin versus Secret. So, again, there's a chance it's going to be postponed, but that chance doesn't exist, apparently. We got it, so definitely things to be excited about. As once again, I'm BreakyCPK, going to be joined by Skim here. So, obviously, Secret, they come off quite the grind of a series there to get to this point. So, didn't have much of a break in between, but they're experienced. They've been through plenty of these before. I don't know if that's necessarily going to phase them too much, but Kinguin's been sitting back after a fun 3-game series that they had earlier on today as well. So it took them, quite the effort against what was Evil Corporation, but obviously advancing on. And looking forward to this one. I really am. This again could go either way with these two teams the way they're playing lately here.
Definitely. I think we've seen in that last series that Secret is not unbeatable by any means, and that Kinguin is definitely, even earlier today, but even at the Perfect World Master, we've seen that Kinguin certainly can upset anybody, really. They can always take a game off of any team. So I'm also very excited about this. Actually interesting seeing the bans right now, because I think both teams sort of opting to not really ban signature heroes at all. Yeah, there are still some signature heroes being banned out. We see the Rubik, Brewmaster, Doom. But again, yeah, the point I was going to make, heroes like Chen, heroes like Omninat not taken out, even though those are usually the top bans against both respective teams. So it's strange, but I wouldn't be surprised if obviously this is something that they've prepared for, something that they're looking forward to. I think if a Kinguin, you definitely knew this Chen was going to come if you don't ban it.
Oh yeah, that's always a possibility when you're playing a team like Team Secret, of course. So ends up being picked up here again. Once we really start getting into the picks, they just started flying through. At least these first couple. The Omni Knight Razor combo on the other side for Team Kinguin. We had talked about that. I believe Secret actually ran that in the game 1. No, that was game 2. That was the game 2 matchup there, the previous series from Secret. Actually, in their losing effort, sure enough. But point is, Omni Knight Razor has proven to be a powerful duo as of late. As I said in that one, again, Brewmaster here that comes to mind. However, it was banned by Kinguin, so preemptively getting ready for that, taking away what could have potentially been a good option. So now it's the bans that are taking the time here. The picks we kind of flew through, and just like the initial bans, even the teams want to think about this here. As far as who you take
I'm actually really surprised by how much time they're taking, because in the previous game, we've seen both teams fly through the bans rather quickly.
Yeah.
But it goes to show, obviously, both teams are difficult to draft against. Secret and Kinguin, have very deep hero pools. Secret, I think their cores, Fata, Mid One, and Ace, possibly one of the most flexible cores in the scene right now, at least at the top tier level. We have Ace Ace can play virtually any carry. Fata, because he's played mid and carry before, has also very deep hero pool, and we have, of course, Mid One, who just dominates on so many heroes as well. So not easy to ban against at all. And I'm also not surprised to see the Tiny ban, though. Secret definitely like playing around the Tiny.
10 seconds remaining.
It's just a comfort pick of theirs, so denying that is very important here.
5 seconds remaining.
I was also confirming, trying to remember correctly, and yeah, these teams did match up in the Perfect World Masters event, of course, in the group stages, and Kinguin did win that series 2-0. Again, not to take too much from that, but very recent history, and this even the same patch here. They did win that, so something to keep in mind.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, those games were a bit, not to take anything away from Kinguin, right? I think Kinguin definitely showed that they're a really strong team. But at the end of the day, it was also Secret playing with CTY as a stand-in, and there were definitely a lot of communication issues early on. Granted, obviously, CTY doesn't speak English, and they had to communicate via chat wheel, but you could tell that they weren't necessarily on the same page as to what to do. And always, reaction times were really slow, and then, the item builds from CTY sometimes are really questionable. So I fully expect a completely different Secret here, but at the same time, Kinguin has learned a lot from that first LAN event. As a team, it wasn't their first LAN event, but it was basically their first top tier LAN event, and being able to play against all these teams, to scrim them, to talk to them, to exchange ideas and thoughts about the meta, is so clutch that I wouldn't be surprised if in the coming weeks we see a completely different and even stronger Kinguin than we've seen before.
a hero that really stood out for me when watching this team at that event was the Winter Wyvern. So I even meant to bring that up earlier, but El Lisa played a fantastic Winter Wyvern multiple times. So again, can't say I'm surprised to see that third pick here on the side of Kinguin. As far as Secret goes, one that was coming to mind for me is the Witch Doctor. I know they love running the Witch Doctor. Usually it would be Puppy, but Yapster also does play it as well. So we'll see if that maybe is going to come about as far as an option is concerned.
It's most likely a support Sand King though. Fata doesn't really run.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Fata doesn't really run the offlane Sand King that much, and it's not really necessary. I mean, it could be a sort of Fata hero, but I don't know. He just doesn't like playing it, and Bad Rider is definitely one of his heroes. So most likely that's how the heroes are distributed right now. Yeah, the Wyvern. I'm surprised it wasn't a ban. It is a very popular first phase ban against Kinguin, especially in Europe. Like, European teams don't want to give them Wyvern at all. We've definitely seen teams at Perfect World Masters sort of giving them the Wyvern experimenting heal a little bit, but they were also heavily punished. Newbie will still look back on that one game that they lost against Kinguin.
Yeah.
And, well, I guess I can still feel happy since they won the event in overall, but still that one stung.
That's true. That really helped accelerate Kinguin as far as getting the respect as of recently. And yeah, this is also a team they've been qualifying for multiple events recently as well. It's not like it's just completely out of the blue that they did pretty well at the Perfect World Masters, but that especially has now started to excel them quite a bit, and people starting to recognize them more and more. And I'll say what's an interesting European region right now, because you have Liquid obviously at the very top, and that's not changing. You have Secret also up there. But after those two teams, it has been a very rocky road, I think is a safe thing to say. We're really not sure who's that third team on the list even. But Kinguin has definitely made a name for themselves, and I think you could argue that they are that at this point. So Nyx Assassin into the Weaver coming out for Secret. Ace Weaver.
Yeah, that's why these first experiences for Kinguin are so important. Any team that any qualifier that Secret doesn't play in, or I guess it's just not invited to, or where they're directly invited to the event, is where these teams have to take those opportunities, get to the LAN event, and then become better. Because in the first couple of qualifiers, Secret just stomped everybody. It wasn't not even close. The 3-0 teams in the grand finals, no contestation whatsoever. But because, again, teams like Kinguin, teams like Penta in the meantime have caught up, and they're giving Secret a run for their money now. Obviously, Secret also just coming off of the Perfect World Masters, and they also didn't play with Mid-1 for a while, so there's also something there. But still, Kinguin, Penta, Mouse Sports, these teams are hungry for the third spot. Like you mentioned, OG definitely not the third team just yet. They're struggling, and these teams are looking to fill that spot right now. And if Kinguin win here, I definitely think we can look at them as the third best team in Europe right now.
Oh yeah, and I will admit I did slightly forget about OG, but I think that's for good reason, right? Like, when it comes to their results,
exactly,
they frankly haven't been doing too well when it comes to the qualifiers, especially. So, anyways, that's we could have a whole discussion on that and argue about that for days. But yeah, the ultimate point comes back to this is a good series. This really could go either way. And this is a major on the line. I really feel like we have to reiterate that because, again, with so many tournaments happening, this is a very important one. One step away from going to what would be the third major of the circuit season here. Shadow Fiend going to be the final pick, meanwhile, for Team Secret. So the mid-1 Shadow Fiend. That's what we have now. Kinguin, how do they respond to this?
10
Perhaps the
seconds
mid-hero themselves.
Yeah, they could. We definitely see more and more safe lane razors than usually. And,
look at that ban on Secret, by the way. The Lich ban, final ban. That is interesting because they already had the Winter Wyvern, obviously, and I guess they maybe expected more of a core Winter Wyvern. I guess that could be possible.
Or even a core Omni Knight. Not sure which team it was, but we've definitely seen carry. Or I've seen carry Omni Knight. I'm not sure which team it was. Was it actually at Perfect World Masters? I think it was. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, Lich ban definitely a little bit weird, but I do expect the carry to come out of this last.
It was Mushi that played it. Yeah.
Was it Mushi? Right. Yeah. It's not impossible by any means. It's not great either. It's very situational.
But even if they do that, though, would that really mean they would go at Lich? Like that still would feel a little, because That I mean, I guess
You
you'd
would
go
run
like offlane Winter Wyvern, but
yeah, it would be a bit weak since you'd have like Lich Wyvern as supports.
You may now select
Maybe
your hero.
Secret just wanted to make sure that they don't get their lanes denied. Against an SF, that's actually really important to deny those creeps, and it really makes his laning stage a little bit tougher.
Lifestealer, exotic deal Lifestealer. That's what we are going to see in the end. So Nisha ends up in the mid lane on Razor. And sure enough, Elisa will be playing the Winter Wyvern, of course. All right.
He's such a good Wyvern player.
Yeah.
Again, I can only highlight this one game, the first game against Newbie. I almost want to give him the MVP from that game just because his Wyvern was so strong. He was able to find really clutch Cold Embraces, but also Winter Curses. He got like a solo kill onto SECC for some reason. I don't even know how that happened.
10 seconds
So this
remaining.
is, I don't know, this is a really strong team to look out for. And again, Secret
5
looked
seconds
vulnerable.
remaining.
The last series was not perfect by any means, and don't want to take anything away from Penta, but a team like Secret generally want to look better against a team like Penta, right? Secret
Yeah.
will look to them as a top 5, top 6 team in the world right now, or at least they want to be a top team, of course, in the world right now. And against a team like Penta, they kind of have to look smoother than that. And since they look kind of weak, I don't know. I gotta give it. I honestly think Kinguin's draft is also better. I prefer it much more because I think Secret's lineup, I'm not sure how much they're going to be able to push against Kinguin. Kinguin have a lot of good ways of dealing with the push. They have the Wyvern, they have the Razor. Patos can just walk in there and can just purify. What are they going to do against that?
Mm-hmm. The lockdown lacking is my only big concern for Team Kinguin. Yes, they have a Nyx Assassin, but even the Impel Stun, we've seen plenty of times that ability whiff, especially against a hero like a Weaver, can be very difficult to land on. So that's my number one concern for Kinguin as far as the drafts are concerned. So being, I guess, the other side of that coin, that's where I would maybe lean towards the side of Team Secret personally. But again, definitely expecting a great game one here to kick off this series. I was going to say we were paused, right? Yeah, it looks like, okay, mid one is AFK, so they did pause for the time being, giving us a little more time to analyze this draft. Shadow Fiend, I was really excited to start seeing Shadow Fiend after the latest patch, the whole raise additional damage. And I covered the CIS region yesterday. I forget who played it, but somebody played it. We did see that very aggressive spell damage build, the Yules. The Yules started off at least, but it also going the talents that would amplify the raises, and even got the 40% cooldown reduction, I believe it was at level 25. The raises you could just use so frequently, and then even all your items. He eventually got a scythe on top of that as well. It was like a 13-second sheepstick. It was like a 3-second blink dagger. I mean, it's pretty crazy, actually, if you want to go that direction.
I actually really missed that Shadow Fiend build, the whole blink Yules, and then you just blow people up. It was like a really popular build at some point, and it was kind of fun to play and kind of fun to watch. Just have a Shadow Fiend gank like that and be sort of like a mid-game aggressor more so than a carry, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it has a place with the talents, like you pointed out. You can definitely build towards that, but in most cases, that just raw damage build is just much more efficient because you can take objectives that much quicker.
Well, I will say this game, you are dealing with the Lifestealer and Omni Knight with the Repel. Like, the raises might not be as powerful, let alone the Requiem. So that's where, yeah, more of the right click is probably going to be the style here for mid one. But even the right click, I mean, technically, to be fair, Cold Embrace is good against that. So it is kind of a give and take. That's what you're concerned about. Well, we'll see. This has been an interesting format. I know a lot of people have been talking about that. The format of this event has, frankly, been it's been interesting. I'll put it that way. This is essentially the second stage. All the regions have this second stage of the format. The first stage was actually 2 different groups where there were 4-team brackets, double elimination. And the teams were a mix of invited and then a couple of open qualifier teams even to that. So, set up pretty interestingly, and that's how both Evo Corporation and Penta Sports actually got to the second stage. But the second stage, it actually just invited then 2 other teams that would play those teams, in this case Kinguin and Secret, in just a straight-up single elimination. So, a team like Secret and Kinguin, it's pretty, to the point. Like, they only get the single elimination chance. Granted, they're already in the semifinals, so obviously that's nice, but we saw yesterday, again, going back to the CIS region, both the invited teams, Na'Vi and Vega Squadron, they actually both lost in their best-of-3 series, so they were done. Just like that, actually. Team Spirit actually ended up qualifying out of CIS.
Yeah,
so
Team Spirit looking really strong lately. I think they also made a roster change after the fact. What was it? I forgot who they
well, their roster now is Illidan, ILTW, DK Phobos, FNG, and Biver, actually.
Right, I think Illidan joined after the roster lock, though. They definitely I mean, if they will play, or I mean, if they will earn points at the Galaxy Development Major, I believe they will concede a penalty. But either way, you know, Spirit looking strong. I'm always happy to see more competition. It's getting a little bit stale between just Na'Vi and Empire, and I guess Virtus Pro. But yeah, as for the format, honestly, I like the second stage thing. I mean, yeah, whether or not it should be single limb, the second stage is, I guess, worth a discussion. But in general, I like the second stage thing, especially teams that, you know, are very established. It's just really good for them because they're traveling so much, right? Imagine if Secret didn't have a second stage to fall back on. Imagine if they had to play the first stage as well, despite traveling to Perfect World, right?
That's fair, yeah.
So I really like this, and it sort of rewards teams also for consistency, right? Kinguin was invited as well because they were a consistently strong team in the European region, so they earned their second stage sort of like direct invite, and kind of nice.
The one other big thing about this tournament real quickly before as we get into game number 1 is, again, it's a 16-team event. It's the first 16-team tournament, the main event at least, that we're going to have of this new circuit season. So that's something else to look forward to. 8 teams were invited. You have 8 more than qualifying from all of the regions. So anyways, after all of that, here we go. Game number 1 officially underway. And into the laning phase we go. Patos on Omni Knight already getting down here. He has 10 tangos on him. All right. He is ready to regen. On the Omni down there. Razor, of course, going to end up in the middle lane. Going to be looking to pick up that bounty rune. It's been interesting kind of seeing the interaction of the bounty rune and the whole early TP that you get. Obviously, you can't TP now right after you get the bounty rune. We were seeing players do that. But mid players still seem to value the idea of getting the bounty rune, even despite that.
It's a good sort of like early kicker. And generally speaking, you can always, or you should always force the support to block the creeps for you, so you can get back into lane on time. It's just, I don't know, it's just really important to get that early bottle up, or, you know, it's an extra salve, like, all these, like, it really matters having an extra regen early on. The battle begins. So that's why I also often see bounties obviously contested, right? Because of the way this works right now, you know, usually always have one support dedicated to blocking the mid wave.
Yeah.
It makes it much easier to contest bounty runes for one team, because usually, you know, without the Chen there, they can't really fight this right now.
All right, so Shadow Fiend, again, a couple of weaknesses early on. The obvious, he doesn't have any souls just yet, but the other is that he's very susceptible to getting ganked on. So early on, mid 1, it seems like it's going to be a rough start. As I say this, they're already going in, a lot of damage being sapped. They're going to get him to close to half life even, and we got our tri-lane middle. This really is becoming more and more of a strategy, it seems like, at this latest patch. Like, teams running 3 heroes middle just to try to secure it for their own laner.
I like this. I mean, make sure that the SF suffers as much as possible in this lane. It's pretty much the only lane where you can really ensure the secret hero doesn't get a lot. I mean, I guess you could focus the Bad Rider, but there's no point because you don't really need to dedicate the supports for this. So.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. It draws also the other 2 supports to really come to this lane. Or at the very least, it punishes the fact that Secret have a jungler, right? They have the Chen. And he has to at least get a creep, maybe farm a camp, maybe get level 2 or so. And now you force the Chen onto this lane, but it's a Chen. What's he going to do?
Exactly, yeah. He's kind of just running at them with the Satyr, and Puppy saying hello. Of course, the Satyr is a nice creep to have here, that unholy
the health
aura.
Region is actually pretty, yeah, that is actually really good here. I mean, suddenly mid 1 is full HP again.
Yeah. And he's only eaten the 1 tango so far, so you're right. The aura really helping to get him back up to full life even. And they're going to start applying some damage to the tower, possibly. I guess for now they're just more so focused on the last hits, of course. But out comes the Shockwave, and they're going in, aren't they? On a Razor. Cold Embrace. Gonna heal him back up, though, and now this dive. Secret probably regretting it pretty quickly. Nisha's still taking some more damage. Another Hadouken. He's gonna drain the damage of one. Gets plenty himself in return. Nyx Assassin gets a Burrow Strike stun on him, though, and first blood is drawn. Mid one gets credit. I mean, I'm honestly just so surprised how well that worked for Secret. They took minimal damage in return somehow.
It's the Unholy Aura. They can't dive the tower because they know, you know, we have plus 5 HP region anyway. Kind of crazy. And it's so silly to watch a 3v3 mid lane for like the first 2 minutes, but hey, if it works.
The meta, man. It seems like, again, a lot of teams are focusing on this idea. Yeah, that Penitence also coming into play. Obviously from Chen, the amp damage, the slow that was applied. And he's going to wait patiently nearby. He does have a Hellbear Smasher to take over. Going to stack, though, for the meantime. And Puppy very confident with the Chen. He's even still spamming out the middle lane with the Satyr. Eventually will die off there as he summons a new one.
He tried to maximize the efficiency on that as much as possible. And now he has another creep which he can go to mid with. I don't know. I mean, it does cost Secret a little bit of time.
He's dead.
Get this kill?
Yeah, well, I was going to bring this up. Mid one, by the way. That's going to be a turn kill at least, but now Nisha's also in trouble. The Caustic Finale on it, the Burrow Strike hits, and Yapzor credit for the kill onto the Razor. The action just continues in this. I haven't even looked at the other lanes yet, and I think that's for good reason. I mean, it's just crazy back and forth here. But I wanted to point out, Winter Wyvern getting the Cold Embrace at level 2. That's not something you see a lot, but that just kind of shows you how Kinguin's mindset is right now. They're forced to play so defensive in this mid lane.
I think it was also a reactionary play to that one gank mid, or to that one engagement mid where they dove the tier 1 basically, and he thought with the Cold Embrace maybe they save or they prevent the kill from happening. It's but yeah, like you said, it definitely goes to show that Secret are applying a lot of pressure with this lineup already.
Gasor, he's in trouble still actually, even with the Purification heal. Ace putting in the attacks, but not going to chase too far and has another Shikuchi. He'll get away. Look at the Ace, by the way, has a bottle early on the Weaver. He's going to take that bounty rune, bottle it up.
Yeah. Ace likes doing this a lot, you know, on his silent heroes. I mean, with the bounty rune, and usually they leave him alone anyway, so he can always, you know, push out the wave and then immediately go for the rune. So he likes going for that early bottle. But yeah, as you know, mid lane, yeah, we've seen a couple of kills from Secret here, but at the end of the day, Nisha still more last hits than the SF. And since SF died as well, he lost a couple of souls upon dying as well. So
True.
Not great.
That is a good point. He's back up to 14 now, but was hurt there a little bit. All right, there are other lanes, I promise. Let's take a quick look. Lifestealer versus the Batrider at the top. Lifestealer 25-7, Batrider 25-4. So safe to say they're both having a great time. Back and forth. And then the bottom, again, the Weaver, the advantage over the Omni Knight currently, 23-5 versus 19-3. Back to the middle lane. Cold Embrace saving initially, but all that magic damage from the raises you see coming out and eventually set up the kill on him. Only so much healing Elisa can do with that level 1 Cold Embrace. So it's, yeah, it was a reaction pickup, but it almost feels like it's just not even really doing anything, frankly, because they're just eventually going to die anyways. In the long
Very much
run,
just delaying the inevitable.
Yeah. Secret 4-1 start here as a result. But with the way the other lanes are going, who do you think is favored currently this early game? Obviously the mid lane seems like it's going pretty well now for the Radiant side, but Nyx?
Well, we say that, but
That too? That Penitence, man. Amping so much damage.
Razor still technically has higher net worth than well, now he was overtaken with that one creep wave, but you know, he's still sort of even in terms of net worth.
True.
With mid one. So yeah, he died a couple of times here, but he's still farming fine. I would still give the edge to Secret just because Batrider has such a good time as well, and you know, maybe they can find another kill here.
Probably dead. And one raise hits, has another one lining up, mid one gets it off, and that's an auto attack to finish the job right there. You do see the Arctic Burn from the side. Mid one's going to take some good damage, but Winter Wyvern not going to be able to do enough by himself. You see Puppy and Fata zoning out Nyx Assassin in the background. The Splinter Blast connects. Mid one is going to fall, actually, from Elisa right there, but now Yapzor cuts him off. That haste rune, though, is actually going to keep Wyvern alive, so well played by Elisa there.
Yeah, and effectively they're trading mid for mid hero. And it's not necessarily the best trade for Secret because, you know, SF needs a bit of a better start here, and that's why he TP's top. He's fed up with his lane now.
This is just a weird early game, man. There's so many different things going on, it feels like. But Lifestealer, yeah, 41-14. Exotic Deer, kind of the stable factor right now for Kinguin. And I guess even Omni Knight, too, is also not doing too shabby. But more so Lifestealer. The early, or not Armlet, it's going to be the Hand of Midas, actually. He's deciding to go for here, which he will have shortly. Very greedy build, but honestly, with the way he's free farming, I guess it makes sense, though, right?
Yeah, it's the same rationale as the CK Midas in this game. You want to keep up in terms of farm. I don't think they can really expect to close out the game in the mid game, and against SF Weaver, you just need an item advantage here, really. As a lifestealer, he's quite counterable. Weaver and SF are really good counters against him because they have physical damage, a lot of it as well. They're ranged heroes that can kite him around. They build Hurricane Pikes as well, so not easy for the lifestealers to deal with them. So he needs the item advantage that they have with Midas.
Radiant's middle tower is
interesting
under
there.
attack.
They do pick up the bounty rune, though. Good job by Secret, and great bounty rune control across the board, as well as even the double damage rune taken by them. So 8-minute runes completely secured by Team Secret, really. As Lifestealer makes his way into the jungle. Of course, the Hand of Midas again finished. Now working towards phase boots. And again, still expect the Armlet to be coming. Razor, though, he's playing a bit of the recovery game. Currently 5th overall in the net worth. Power treads are coming along, but what kind of game is this for Razor, you think? Does he need the drums at this point, or something else?
You definitely want more mobility here. Don't really want to get kited out. You know, there's Bad Rider, there's Sand King. There's so much slow with Penitence as well. You just don't want to get kited, so build as much movement speed as you can. Sanjin Yasha is a good item here as well. So I expect a very standard Razor build here, really.
Okay.
For anyone watching, by the way, Kinguin, and if you don't watch Kinguin a lot, Kinguin's laning stage is never really that great. No offense to Kinguin, but they definitely shine in the mid game when they fight 5-on-5.
Their strength is team fight, yeah.
Yes, they usually make up for what they lack in the laning stage with superior positioning in the team fights, coordination, timing, really clutch smoke ganks as well. So yeah, it might not look great right now, and in fact, they're actually behind 2K net worth without a tower taken. That's actually insane. But this is Kinguin, and they definitely recover from things like this.
Well, they have an Omni Knight also that's doing all right down here. He's a little bit down on the net worth chart, but not too far behind the Bat Rider, at least on the other side. And he's going to have the Soul Ring as well as the Phase Boots finish now, so nice early progression from him. But speaking of that, mid one pushing out middle, and how about the build of Shadow Fiend, by the way? We mentioned drums for Razor on the other side, but mid one going drums himself, actually, on the Shadow Fiend here. A little bit different.
That's a good item. They, with the Chen, they definitely want to apply a lot of pressure in the mid game. Even if Chen might still go back for the Midas at some point, but you want to apply a lot of pressure in the mid game, and with the drums, cheap utility item, and just generally good for mid one as well. Especially since we can definitely expect drums on the Razor as well, of course, and you need to keep up with that movement speed after all.
Weaver, by the way, no boots build. He goes right into the Dragon Lance. Now even has a Diffusal queued up. Middle lane, Elisa, he's dead. Looks like Chen, big part of that, of course, as well as the Pearl Strike from Yapsur. And the drums now just finished on mid one, being delivered as he heads towards the top lane immediately.
Great timing. Not only do they bait the TP or force the TP from the Lifestealer, but they get a kill, they finish the drums, TP him back so he can finish the drums, and then he immediately TPs back to the top lane to apply pressure here. So this is such good pacing from Secret. Usually, he would have to walk back if they didn't have a Chen, and then he walks back to the top lane, or TP's back to the top lane, but effectively they save like 30 seconds in which they apply pressure or force rotations.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Level 10 hit from Ace, and now he has that 20 mana break talent as well, and that's just something else. It's especially with the Geminate attack. I mean, you look at the mana Patos; it's just disappearing for him right here. So something else that they have to be a little bit concerned about now. But that on top of the Diffusal Blade, which he was going for, as already mentioned, pretty big. Top lane? What is this about? Okay, I'm just going off the
catapult from Chen, I believe. I believe it was from Chen. It must have been. But yeah, mid one doing a really good job at sort of ganking, or not ganking, avoiding these ganks rather. They rotated the Lifestealer and the Nyx Assassin top, but mid one immediately went back mid. He was just making sure that they don't find a kill onto him, and whenever he shows up on lane, he pressures the lane as well, pushing out the wave, hitting the tower.
Puppey ports to the middle lane, does have the casual buckler currently bottom lane. Patos gets dove on, it seems like, and couldn't do anything about it. That was a flaming lasso used from Batrider.
Dire's bottom tower is
Link
under
assist.
attack.
Fata.
Well played there, taking out the Omni Knight, Sand King. Rotating into the Nyx Assassin, but just getting some vision down in secret, kind of continuing to control things. 3,000 net worth later. It's the same story really for Kinguin. Goes back to this Life Stealer, and the armlet's almost finished. So if you're Kinguin, he's porting middle lane. There's actually a big fight breaking out. Splinter Blast, Puppey being slowed down. The open wounds on top of that. Heavy slowing up Puppey. Using the Hand of God, going to survive for the time being. Does this the centaur after the side. Puppey, though, just out of range of the final attack, but the Infest Nuke from Exotic Deer will finish the job. So they do take out Chen when it's all said and done. Good reaction from Lifestealer there to TP in. Make that fight happen.
Yeah, but it's what, 4 heroes committing for a Chen kill, and they use 2 ultimates for it as well. Granted, these aren't necessarily, high cooldown ultimates, but this just buys so much space and time for the rest of Secret, because Ace and Mid One know, alright, what, they already TP in mid, just push out these waves. And again, force the rotation. Exotic Deer has to walk back to defend this tower. And what does Mid One do? He immediately TPs mid, knows, alright, Exotic Deer's top. It's 3-2-1.
Bottom, he goes down actually. Over here, you see Ace is trying to finish off the job on Elisa, but the Cold Embrace will barely keep him alive, and that'll be the end of that. So Batrider getting picked off at Secret. Dive in a little bit too much. We mentioned that in the previous series against Penta, where that was the game 2 especially, where they got the early lead, they started going maybe a little deeper than they should, and before you know it, it felt like, in that case, Penta was winning the game and completely turned it over. So gotta be careful if you're Secret. Learning the lesson from earlier, if anything. Not to go too deep
Definitely.
here.
But at the same time, the timing this time around was much better because, Winter's Curse was down, and they definitely saw the Lifestealer top, so a lot of damage basically not available for Kinguin. So yeah, they still overextend since the Batrider dies, obviously, but could have been, much worse for sure.
What do you think about this? I feel like we see this every now and then, and Exotic Deer, by the way, is okay. They may turn this. Nyx Assassin's here with a Vendetta. But no, Yaps are going to back off. It'll be fine. Omni Knight also going the drums. We just talked about how Razor's, in fact, finish his. Omni Knight also going them. Obviously, they're not always going to be together. They have their own active uses. But stacking the drums together, is that an efficient strategy, you think? Or is it maybe something that isn't necessarily the best value?
It's not bad. I wouldn't even be surprised if, and I believe Fata is also going for a set of drums on the Batrider.
True.
We definitely see that a couple of times for pro teams to go 2 drums per team. Like you said, they're not always going to be together anyway, and oftentimes we have the Batrider maybe ganking with the Sand King, and then SF is just by himself, maybe using the charges very much only for himself. So it's not bad by any means, and especially in the case of Kinguin, both Omni Knight and Razor definitely need those items. The Absolor, he should be dead.
Yes. And best bomb again. To guarantee
but yeah,
it.
those heroes definitely need the items because they want the movement speed so much. Both heroes actually really rely on their movement speed. Omni Knight, with his movement speed and the level 20 Degen Aura talent, he's going to run down everybody.
Yeah. Man, Weaver, he is really farming. He's not even top in the game. Again, Lifestealer is, but as the Dragonlance already into the Diffusal Blade, Ace dealing plenty of damage. Like I said, the Diffusal on top of that 20 mana break talent that he has here currently. Fata, he's baiting him out even.
It is worth noting, though, yeah, Lifestealer is the top of the net worth, but 2k gold of that is the Midas.
True.
So technically speaking, Ace is the head. I mean, his items definitely do more than what the Midas does right now for the Lifestealer. I mean, the Midas is more of a tool to get even further ahead, or to stay relevant, to keep farming. So Ace definitely hurting a lot right now, and don't want to face him alone right now. That's why also the Batrider was waiting, but good work coming out of here from Kinguin. I believe they saw him rotate earlier in, so they know that he's here anyway.
I mean, when is the timing here for Kinguin, right? Like, this laning phase has been won by Secret for the most part, outside of Lifestealer. It feels like, Secret's overall done a pretty good job, but is it the Deathslayer on Lifestealer? Is that maybe, okay, we can feel comfortable grouping up together, holding Thakka's bottom lane? Curse on a Batrider. They're trying to set up this kill. Pato's running at him, popping the drums. Lifestealer coming in, and fought to the hand, and God will keep him alive, actually, as he TPs out. Oh, the clutch timing right there. So they don't get the hero kill, but I guess now's the answer. They kind of forced into a fight, and let's push bottom tower as a result.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense to push now since they just rotated bottom and they know that the Batrider TP'd out, doesn't have lasso anymore. But at the same time, I don't think if you're Kinguin, you feel pressured at all to really try and force the issue.
Big kill. Gonna kill Weaver. Time lapse initially. He's back to half-life though. No vision. And he gets out.
Well, and you mentioned it during the draft. That's lack of lockdown, really. They only have the Winter's Curse and then the Nyx Assassin, that's it. So unless, some sort of Bloodthorn comes out at some point, or Abyssal from the Lifestealer, this Weaver is unkillable. And even at that stage, I expect Ace to have some sort of defensive item to deal with it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to whether it's the Lincolns, the BKB, whatever it may be. Right now he's going pretty full offensive for the most part. Even the Desolator now going to be following it up. And again, the no boot spill, not that that's the craziest thing on a Weaver. We definitely see that time and time, but even just more reason why he just doesn't necessarily feel like he needs it. And for, again, the lack of lockdown on Kinguin's relevant. He's confident that he's going to be able to get those Shikuchis off, fitting in a time lapse. And he's going to also try to help this team do a Roshan attempt right here. And it's not spotted by Kinguin yet. Not the quickest Roshan kill, but it is going to happen at this rate.
Kinguin, unfortunately, don't have good vision of this. They only have one ward, or 2 wards, I guess, but Secret smoked up for this. They're going to get this as well with the SF. Very easy for them, of course.
But he gets away before they can stop him as well. At the bottom lane, so he's been a little bit of a distraction while they're doing the Roshan. I'm guessing Shadow Fiend. Yeah, Shadow Fiend picks it up. Shadow Fiend over the Weaver, what do you think?
Makes sense. Weaver's more difficult to kill. Much more difficult to kill than the SF. If they catch out the SF, they can burst him down much quicker than the Weaver, I think. Because Weaver, of course, does have the time lapse, or Kinguin would have to burst him down perfectly, and he would have to time everything perfectly. SF, you can wear him down bit by bit. Speaking of wearing somebody down. Patos, so dead.
Repel's not going to do much there.
Nothing. Basically nothing.
Yeah, he tried. Kind of panicked.
Oh, they see Yapso blinking into the tree line.
Can they get to him, though? They can, is the answer.
No, they can't.
And Arctic Burn is on cooldown still, even at level 4. He just used it recently. Elisa, he's now in trouble. Cold Embrace wouldn't even save him there. And so he goes down. Penitent's up on a Kessor, and he's dead as well. And 3 kills now for Secret, just like that, one after the other. So they pinged him out. You mentioned they saw the Sand King, but they just couldn't get to him. And it felt like it made Kinguin chase a little bit too much there. Thus the reaction came out of Secret.
Yeah, I think the idea from Kinguin was, we just we saw the Weaver and the Shadow Fiend top. Let's just try and go for a kill bottom. Makes sense, but unfortunately the lineup doesn't necessarily have like insane bursts where they, you pick somebody off and immediately kill him. Or they don't have great initiation either. They don't have a blink Nyx Assassin right now. Right now the way of initiating is running in phase boots, Lifestealer, and open wounds somebody. That's it.
It's not the most viable. Splinter Blast is pretty good for creep clearing. It's only level 1 though on Winter Wyvern. We mentioned he maxed out the Arctic Burn first. He's actually going Cold Embrace now. So yeah, ideally he's pretty good at split push, or pushing out. And only level 1 Splinter Blast, however. Top lane, they're going to be forced out as well. Back to the bottom lane. Tier 2 goes down. Kessler kind of just sat there and accepted that was going to be the case. On Nyx Assassin, not much more he could do.
Blink burrow.
There you go. There's the combo. Swarm comes up. Spite Carapace going to save a little bit. Shikuchi, though, is he going to go for this Weaver? He does have a time lapse. Yes, he wants to, but a little bit too deep. Not enough damage for the kill. And now, okay, never mind, it was. The Swarm was up. Actually takes him down. And he just gets away. He didn't even have to use his time lapse there. Very smart play by Ace. I'll tell you what, he's definitely been an MVP for Secret as a whole today. Obviously, a big factor in that Game 3 on the Lone Druid.
Ace is a very fun player to watch. He always comes up with crazy things, and he always tries to push the boundaries. No, I'm not sure if you remember, but the whole Centaur pushing with illusions. That was one of definitely his things.
That was an MVP play right there from Fata. Meanwhile, the Winter's Curse not in time. That initiation though, Lasso catches the Razor. He's dead for 45. Has a buyback, but Not going to be using it here. Mid one, he's tanking the tower. He's got the Aegis, worst case, but he'll actually be sent back to heal on up right after they get the tower kill. You can tell Secret's really feeling it now. They got a nice burst of momentum here. 8,000 net worth lead. Things are just so fluid for them at this point.
Remember, was it maybe like 5-7 minutes ago when he said, you know, I don't think Kinguin needs to feel pressure. I think they need to feel pressure now.
Yeah.
Their lineup can't really fight into Secret right now at all. They don't have any great way of initiating into the fight. They can't hold the high ground really. They don't have like these great wombo combo ultimates that can stack to make sure that, you know, Secret can't siege. I mean, they have the Winter's Curse. That's it. So if anything, they need to maybe be the aggressors and try to smoke up. I don't think we've seen the Infest Vendetta at all, and I honestly want, you know, just to see them smoke up and group up and try and force a kill, force a fight, not next to their own tower.
That's what I was about to bring up, and I think that's the biggest issue. Again, the one shining star for Kinguin was a lifestealer, and hell, even still, net worth-wise, he's doing great, but he's 2-0-0 at 23 minutes into the game, and they only have 5 hero kills total, only 2 though himself. It's just not, you know, he's usually also a core, especially with early farm, that's going to benefit from that in terms of taking a lot of early fights. You mentioned the vehicle that they have with the Nyx Assassin, that's why you kind of pick up this combo, if anything, too, is for that. But yeah, really haven't used it. Winter's Curse will stop Batrider right here, but Omni still drop into the raises. The Requiem to finish the job. Fatamanda falling, never mind, Hand of God, and he's sent back to base. The save from Puppey yet again. They kill the Omni Knight, and they're probably going to look to keep on going. I mean, Fata's already ported back to the middle lane. He's going to be joining the team shortly. 40 seconds, Omni Knight's dead for.
And they blew the big ultimate, the one ultimate which could have potentially given Kinguin at least 1 kill.
Nyx is dead. Nisha. Obviously the Aegis was reclaimed right there, so Midwest has to be a little more careful, but he just got his BKB. Exotic Deer, rawr, runs at them with rage, and they kind of just stare at him like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? And now the rage is on cooldown. Not much too longer.
Blink Epi.
There you go. Jumping on a Lifestealer. Has the rage coming up right now. The Cold Embrace will save him initially. Catsoar, though, that's going to be a dieback. Exotic Deer pops the rage. He's going in, but he's still even dropping. Double kill for Ace in the backlands. He infests into the creep. The send back on Shadow Fiend. He infests the Alpha Wolf. He's running away with it. Exotic Deer pops on an Omni Knight trying to help in the repel, though. The auto attacks of Ace too strong. The Guardian Angel will save him, however, so Exotic Deer, yeah, at least makes it back to the fountain. That's the good news for Kinguin. The bad news is the racks are still going to be destroyed.
Yep, and SF is in full fighting shape. He's back, so they can start hitting the mid tower as well. I guess the saving grace for Kinguin here is that their hero's a solo level that they just respawn instantly anyway. So they can technically still fight for this mid lane. And their abilities are back up. They have Winter's Curse again. But at the same time, it's not like Secret really invested a lot of abilities either. I mean, Epicenter's down, great, but they have Lasso up again.
They reset really quickly, is the big thing, yeah. And in fact, there you go. The Lasso right on cue. Winter's Curse doesn't even have the chance to use it. He's dead for 30. They are going to lock down Weaver, actually, and they finally will kill him. So that's a start at a comeback for Kinguin. That's 826 bonus gold for Exotic Deer on top of that. That's pretty significant, actually, because now Lifestealer even, he's actually just about has a full AC on top of this. He is a scary hero.
And they did finish the Radiance and Prophets as well. You know? Those items are coming up. That's definitely great for them, but the fact remains that they can't really fight into Secret that great. They have to run in, and running in with the heroes isn't necessarily that bad because they're really tanky, but at the same time, Secret are so strong right now. You know, you have SF, you're just hitting them, so by the time you run in for an open wounds, you're already half HP.
Radiant's middle tower.
I don't know, I definitely think we need some sort of mobility item from either Wyvern or the Nyx Assassin to sort of like initiate the fight, draw the attention. Because you can't just walk up to heroes.
Kind of like this.
Yep.
You can't just walk up. It doesn't work too well. BKB activated mid one. A lot of damage still being sapped from him, but again, the send back. He's good to go. Puppey does still have the Hand of God, however, he doesn't have mana for it, so there is an issue, and he'll TP out, and the rest will survive. So Secret, again, they lost the Weaver initially in that fight, but he's back up now. Kinguin as a team will retreat themselves. But AC is finished on Lifestealer. You have Razor, BKB, now down to 8 seconds, but still, to be fair, that's a very early BKB, and that's good and bad, because now it's already starting to go down on cooldown. We're still very early on in the game, technically, but that's definitely proven to be, you know, pretty good pickup for him to have as well.
And he's starting on the butterfly as well. Once that one is up, I mean, Kinguin is hours away from the MKB fields. They're never going to get that in the next 10, 15 minutes, it feels. And, oh, actually, the butterfly is completed. I didn't even see it was on the career. Never mind.
Okay.
That is insane.
Wait,
so
who? Oh, yeah, Shadowfiend.
How do you deal? Yeah, Shadowfiend. How do you deal with this butterfly? There's no good way of dealing with this. They don't have. They're not. Again, they're not gonna get an MKB anytime soon. When they even spot the Vendetta Infest.
And
also just, yeah.
I'm looking at his level 20 talent as well for Shadowfiend. I mean, he could even get the 20% evasion on top of that. So, Shadow Race damage is pretty good, to be fair. But, and he did actually go the Spell Lamp at level 10, so he might actually go that instead, considering he has the Butterfly already. But we'll see what mid one decides. But grouping up together, again, as a team, is Team Secret. They do not want to relieve this. They want to just keep it up on a Kinguin. Exotic Deer, he'll pop out of the Vendetta Nyx Assassin, though, and, well, they're going to smoke up out of this. They were seen doing this. Fata, he's on the uphill, looking for a target. Mid one just running on in. He's not scared. He knows he has the backup.
Yeah, why not? They don't have good lockdown anyway.
Yeah, true.
Like you pointed out, you know, there's not a lot to punish these kind of aggressive movements right now. If anything, I mean, if one hero is by himself, yeah, they could maybe punish it, but this SF is so difficult to bring down. Like Lasso.
Got Nyx. Penitence. Spike to Carapace, saving initially. Buying a little bit of time for his teammates to come in. Nice. The Yapster's done on Exotic Deer. The Guardian Angel used the Winter's Curse also activated on the Bat Rider. Mechanism. Heal Requiem. Going out for mid one. Nobody dying from it. Ace is sitting in the front lines. He's dropping half-life. Any time lapse in time. He's dying right here. The epicenter though from Yapster with the stun. They do kill Weaver, however. Yapster goes down. Exotic Deer will fall himself. It's just Omni Knight all of a sudden alive on the side of Kinguin. Heroes were exploding left and right. And it does favor Secret in the end numbers-wise, but buyback for Lifestealer. And he's coming back in here. No Weaver for 55 seconds. He's just going to run right at mid one. There's a send back. It's always good.
You could technically do the whole bear thing. You replicate it with the SF. You know, you just walk up, send back, and then. Yeah, this is not looking good for Kinguin. This was pretty much the best fight they could have hoped for. You know, they wrap around, they bait it with the Nyx Assassin. Or, I mean, I guess they used that opportunity to sort of like bait. It was a really good angle from which the Kinguin took the fight, and they got a really good Winter's Curse as well into the Bat Rider, but it didn't really do anything because Weaver and SF have BKBs, so they don't really get affected by the Winter's Curse. So yeah, that's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, certainly is, and again, going across the board, seeing bigger and better items that are being picked up here. Weaver, his own BKB. We mentioned the idea he's going to need his own defensive tool, so choosing to go for that. Down to 9 seconds here, but an MKB also queued up for him. He's also almost level 20. I'll see what he decides to go for right there. Shadowfiend poking in, going to pick up the Illusion Rune. Start beating down Exotic Deer, who also is going for it. They might chase this. Rage is going to be wearing off soon. Armlet toggling. Nice Impale stun will stall. Puppy, though, catches up to him. Penitence is up. More amp damage. Heals from Patos, puts on the repel. This is just a game of chase here. Secret, but again, I feel like we've said it over and over, but it's what can they do against it? They can't stop this. In fact, Nyx Assassin is ultimately going to get caught there. And now he's dead for 50.
It's so silly to look at, but, you know, this Lifestealer is just getting run down by an SF, and there's nothing Kinguin can do about it. Absolutely nothing. And mid one knows it as well. That's why he's playing so aggressively. He can just do this. Yeah. They can't punish it. And with the Nyx Assassin dead, I'm not sure they can defend this mid-racks anymore.
Dire's bottom shrine is under
they can try, but they need that lockdown for the Nyx Assassin.
Yep. No, it's again, outside of him, it's just the Winter's Curse, really, and that's only for so long. You talk about the BKBs not caring about it anyways. So here we go. The range racks easily destroyed. It's just the bottom now that stays up. You see they're pinging out Roshan. Second Roshan is up, so the Chi's available. He's spotted out with Chen. And they say, let's not rush things. Let's go ahead and do it.
Very disciplined play from Secret here.
Yeah, why not?
It's very easy to overextend if you're this far ahead. And they know that they're this far ahead as well. What, almost, yeah, over 20k net worth.
This is a major spot, man. Playing it safe is usually going to be the good option. most cases. I think that's the case here for Secret. Fata. Oh boy.
Fata's positioning is so good.
Yeah, he's going to catch somebody. Wyvern's like, that's the best target, because now what can they do? They go for him. Elisa just about dead. He will die. An auto attack later. Ace initially got caught, but he time-lapsed away. And now he's resetting, going back in on Anisha. He has that BKB. He's just being a distraction, if anything. Setting up the Yapsor Epicenter. Buyback on a Nyx Assassin. But now Anisha, that BKB is going to be wearing off shortly. And he's going to probably die as a result of the Eye of the Storm's not going to help him there. Exotic Deer has to go toe-to-toe. He does not have a buyback, remember. The stun not going to hit Milwum due to the BKB. Buyback on a Razor. Exotic Deer will fall, though. He's dead for 100 seconds, essentially. And that could do it in favor of Secret for game number 1 right here. I mean, Kinguin's still fighting, but with the Aegis, with the cheese still, how do you really win this game for Kinguin at this point? The answer is I don't think you do.
You really don't. Whatever plan they had against Chen
Rampage
didn't work out.
Rampage. Give him the Rampage. He wants it. He gets it. Well played by Secret. Styling off them at the very end, and you know, we were going over the draft. We had a little bit of extra time to do so, obviously with the pause initially, and yeah, lacking the stuns, man. Really, it almost feels like it does come down to as simple as that for Kinguin. Lacking the crowd control.
But I feel like they also could have set their lanes up better. The fact that they lost the mid lane so much as they did, you know, though, I mean, again, the Razor did well in terms of farming, obviously, but the fact that he just died so often, they basically made every rotation that Chen and SK did. They or rather, Secret's rotation were always on point. They were always resulting in a kill. And if you play against a Chen SK, you may have to make sure that their rotations don't result in kills. That's literally all you have to do. Delay that early game impact from them as much as possible and don't give them a good time. But it was basically the exact opposite. Yeah, the Lifestealer is doing well, but it's just a Lifestealer as well. It's not a game-changing hero. If this was a Dusa, yeah, maybe you can still hold the high ground with a Dusa, but not with a Lifestealer. I don't know. It's both draft, but also I think play-wise, I don't think we'll see the Chen being not banned again.
Yeah, that has to be banned. I mean, it's already banned so much against Secret, and it's one of those games like, all right, we'll let him try it in game number 1. Oh, yeah, that's why it's banned. Okay, we just got a friendly reminder. 2-1 and 28. That is an impressive stat line there from
Puppy. Absolutely on point on that hero. It's that's why he's pretty much the best.
Yeah,
him and RK sort of like the signature players for that.
All right, game number 1. Secret taking it. It is a best of 3. Kinguin fighting for their tournament lives now. Again, a spot to the major. That is Galaxy Battle on the line. We'll see what happens in game number 2. I'm Breaky CPK, joined by Skim once again. Stay tuned, guys. Game number 2 coming up next.